In the thick of any intense showdown, it's not the hulking giant with bulging muscles or the guy barking the loudest threats who truly terrifies everyone. It's the one who stands there in complete, unnerving silence. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But this profound realization completely transformed the path of one of history's most formidable warriors, and it has the potential to reshape your life in powerful ways too. I'm talking about Miyamoto Musashi, the unbeatable samurai icon from Japan who never tasted defeat in his entire career. He survived over 60 brutal, high-stakes duels where a single mistake could mean the end of everything. Yet Musashi's real advantage wasn't in how fast he swung his sword or how hard he struck. It was something far more potent and subtle. His mastery over his own mind was so razor-sharp that his opponents would unravel into panic long before the first clash of steel. While they were drowning in waves of anxiety, rage, and doubt, Musashi floated above it all with a chilling composure. And get this, the mental techniques he perfected amid those life-or-death battles apply seamlessly to the everyday grind we face today. Whether you're staring down a domineering supervisor at work, navigating heated arguments with family members, or handling inflammatory comments on social platforms, the core truth remains unchanged. The person who commands their inner world ultimately dictates how things play out. You're about to dive into the 4 essential mental strategies Musashi honed to maintain unbreakable calm, even as the world around him crumbled into chaos. But first, let's pause and reflect on something personal. When somebody raises their voice at you or launches an aggressive challenge your way, what's going on inside? Your body locks up, muscles clench tight, your pulse skyrockets, and that hot surge of anger begins to build. Before you can even process it, you're swept up in this whirlwind of feelings, reacting without thinking. This is exactly the snare that Musashi spotted and sidestepped like a pro. He realized that surrendering to those immediate emotions strips you of 2 vital elements: your grip on the external circumstances and, even more critically, your command over your own responses. That's why his foundational principle for triumphing in any kind of conflict isn't rooted in physical prowess or technical expertise. It's grounded in something much more profound: creating emotional separation. So what exactly does emotional separation entail? It's the skill of detaching yourself from the intensity of your feelings, allowing you to observe them objectively without being dragged under. Musashi likened it to surveying a battlefield from a lofty vantage point, as if the turmoil below were just fleeting clouds drifting across a vast sky. He didn't embody the anger or the fear, he merely acknowledged their presence and watched them dissolve on their own. This straightforward practice of not fusing with your emotions alters the entire dynamic in an instant. It might seem basic on the surface, but let's be honest, we all stumble into this error constantly in our daily lives. Picture this: someone hurls an insult your way, and your instinctive response is to declare, "I'm angry." Or even more entangling, you start thinking of yourself as the embodiment of that anger. You merge with it completely, and suddenly it's calling the shots on what you say, how you act, and the choices you make. In essence, you turn into a marionette, jerked around by your own fleeting moods. Musashi approached it from the opposite angle. He recognized the anger bubbling up, but he refused to let it consume him. Instead, he'd frame it as, "I'm experiencing anger in this moment." See the subtle shift in phrasing? It carves out a crucial buffer between you and the emotion itself. And within that buffer lies your true freedom, the space where you can decide how to proceed rather than being forced into knee-jerk reactions. Ready to put this into action right away? The next time you sense strong emotions surging during a confrontation, be it a heated debate or just a tense exchange, hit the mental brakes for a second. Silently tell yourself, "I'm aware that anger's rising," or "I'm noticing this frustration kicking in." This act of naming the feeling without owning it builds that all-important distance. And as you practice, that distance grows wider, handing you greater authority over your responses. The key here isn't to ignore or bottle up what you're feeling. That only backfires. It's about refusing to let those feelings dictate your path. Once you establish this emotional buffer in the midst of a storm, the inner turbulence starts to settle, and that's when you unlock genuine influence over whatever's unfolding around you. Now consider how most people charge into conflicts. They're winging it, with no real foresight, just scrambling to defend themselves as things escalate in real time. Musashi flipped that script entirely. He was convinced that true composure comes from anticipating the chaos before it hits. This brings us to his second key principle, proactive awareness. He referred to it as a form of foresight, the knack for sensing an adversary's next move well in advance. It's not some mystical mind-reading ability. It's about spotting recurring patterns in human behavior. After all, no matter how unpredictable we think we are, people tend to fall into familiar ruts when the pressure mounts. Anger cycles in predictable loops. Fear shrinks your options down to a handful, and impatience lays bare vulnerabilities that can be exploited. In preparation for his duels, Musashi didn't leave anything to luck. He'd meticulously study his challengers, analyzing their movement styles, how they handled stress, and their preferred attack patterns. Take his legendary bout against Sasaki Kojiro, for instance. Musashi had intel that Kojiro was arrogant, easily frustrated, and wielded an unusually long sword. So what did he do? He deliberately showed up late to the fight, ratcheting up Kojiro's irritation to a boiling point. And on the boat ride over, he fashioned a wooden oar into a makeshift sword that was just a tad longer than his opponent's. The battle was essentially decided before it began, all because Musashi had mapped out the scenario ahead of time. How can you weave this into your modern routine? It's straightforward. Right before stepping into a challenging discussion, say a tough negotiation or a prickly family talk, take a quick 30-second timeout. Pose these 3 targeted questions to yourself. What's the probable emotional vibe this person is bringing? What's their underlying goal in this exchange? And what are the top 3 ways they might react based on what I know? By pondering these, you're priming your mind for the road ahead, which softens the blow of any unexpected emotional twists, the very things that often knock us off our game. Without that element of surprise, your system doesn't spiral into fight-or-flight frenzy. Instead, it gears up with sharp focus and steady nerves. This isn't just samurai wisdom, it's echoed in high-pressure fields today. FBI hostage negotiators, for example, always profile their subjects' emotional makeup, comb through historical behaviors, and sketch out potential conversation routes before engaging. A researcher from Stanford who specializes in human behavioral patterns puts it this way: by anticipating emotional responses in advance, your brain shifts into a proactive mode. It's the shock factor that ignites panic, but preparation lets you stay composed even when tensions skyrocket around you. At its heart, this proactive approach isn't about manipulating others. It's about familiarizing yourself with the landscape so you're never caught off guard. The deeper your grasp on common emotional tendencies, the less you'll be rattled, and the more you'll embody that quiet strength in a noisy, unpredictable world. Musashi also had a keen insight into the body's natural rhythms, recognizing that breath serves as the vital link between physical sensations and mental clarity. He noticed how his foe's breathing would betray them first under duress, turning rapid, shallow, and erratic, which signaled an impending loss of composure. Thus, his third principle revolves around deliberate breathing control. In the heat of combat, Musashi didn't just manage his strikes and footwork, he orchestrated every inhale and exhale with precision. He grasped that dominating your breath equates to dominating your inner state. This wasn't a minor detail, it was a strategic edge. During his rigorous training sessions, he'd synchronize powerful swings with deep, rhythmic breathing, ensuring that even in utter pandemonium, his thoughts remained crystal clear. And this isn't mere historical lore. Contemporary research validates it fully. Engaging in slow, intentional breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's built-in relaxation mechanism that counters stress and restores equilibrium. A seasoned neuroscientist with over 15 years in behavioral studies describes it as a physiological toggle switch, capable of flipping you from heightened alertness to serene focus almost instantaneously. Quick, erratic breaths fuel the stress response, pumping out hormones that muddle your judgment and amplify chaos. Musashi's technique was elegantly simple, yet profoundly effective. In those pivotal moments before action, he'd draw a purposeful breath, inhaling deeply through his nose for a count of 4, holding it briefly, then exhaling slowly through his mouth for a count of 6. This rhythm aligned his body and mind, forging an oasis of tranquility amid the turmoil. You can adopt this verbatim in your life today, whether it's during a stressful work presentation, an escalating disagreement with a partner, or gearing up to share tough feedback. Start with just one cycle. Nose in for 4 seconds, a short pause, mouth out for 6. That alone can dial back the intensity and sharpen your thinking. Do 2 or 3 rounds and you'll feel the calm ripple outward, easing your entire system. Think of it as your personal reset mechanism, a gentle nudge that, regardless of the external frenzy, you hold the reins to cultivate inner peace. For Musashi, this steadiness was the bedrock of his successes. In our fast-paced era, it's the cornerstone for living with greater awareness, balance, and resilience. Now envision yourself smack in the middle of a fiery dispute. The air crackles with high emotions, sharp words are exchanged, and the pressure builds relentlessly. In such scenarios, the average person defaults to autopilot, driven by the urge to dominate the debate, score points, or retaliate in kind. But Musashi operated on a higher plane. He didn't engage to stroke his ego or vent frustrations. Every action was tied to a deliberate aim. This leads us to his 4th and final principle: intentional engagement. Musashi viewed aimless actions in battle as equivalent to swinging wildly in the dark, ineffective and dangerous. His adversaries often charged in fueled by raw fury, a desperate need to prove dominance, or crippling fear of failure. In contrast, Musashi entered with crystal-clear objectives, knowing precisely what he sought from each maneuver and choice. As he penned in his writings, the true warrior avoids hasty assaults, staying anchored to their overarching goal. This laser-like focus prevented him from getting lost in the emotional maelstrom. And in our contemporary clashes, this clarity is indispensable. How often have you been in a disagreement that began with a legitimate issue but devolved into a tangle of blame, dredged-up history, and unrelated wounds? That's what happens when the original intent evaporates, leaving only disorder in its wake. Drawing directly from Musashi's wisdom, here's a practical fix. Before wading into any potential conflict, a thorny dialogue, a high-tension gathering, or even crafting a charged email, take a brief moment to clarify your intent. Boil it down to one concise, unambiguous statement that acts as your guiding star. Examples might include, I aim to clarify this confusion without inflicting unnecessary harm. I want to assert my perspective while showing respect. Or, my priority is preserving my own equilibrium. As the interaction heats up and feelings intensify, silently reaffirm that statement to yourself. It serves as an anchor, keeping you rooted and steering your responses toward productive ends rather than impulsive outbursts. Suddenly, your words and behaviors align with a higher purpose, not just ego-driven reactions. But here's a twist that might catch you off guard. Embracing a clear intent doesn't make you robotic or detached. On the contrary, it channels your emotions constructively, transforming potential destructiveness into opportunities for growth and connection. Musashi embodied this deeply. He wasn't emotionless, he was purposeful. With that sense of direction, you gain the wisdom to select your battles thoughtfully, and equally important, to recognize when disengaging is the smarter move. Authentic strength isn't measured by how many fights you win, it's about elevating beyond the need for constant conflict. These 4 pillars, emotional separation, proactive awareness, deliberate breathing, and intentional engagement, aren't confined to ancient swordplay. They're timeless tools for navigating life with greater mindfulness, stability, and autonomy. They resonate with enduring philosophies like Buddhism's emphasis on detaching from ego-driven impulses and Taoism's principle of Wu Wei, the art of effortless, harmonious action in sync with life's flow. In our current landscape, brimming with provocations, from endless social media scrolls and political divides to daily commutes and personal relationships, everything seems engineered to elicit snap reactions. Yet the most influential figure today isn't the one who roars the fiercest or strikes the hardest. It's the individual who holds their ground with quiet assurance as others spiral out of control. They're the ones who discerningly allocate their energy, understanding that sometimes the most potent reply is none at all. As you integrate these principles, you'll notice a fascinating shift. Many so-called conflicts simply evaporate, revealing they were illusions born from your own unchecked reactions. By refining yourself, you subtly reshape the reality unfolding around you. Much like Musashi, you transition from merely enduring life's battles to transcending them altogether. This isn't the path of raw aggression, but of profound inner fortitude. If these ideas strike a chord, pause now for a deep, intentional breath and internalize this. Genuine mastery arises not from sheer might, but from heightened consciousness. And are you prepared to embark on this transformative journey?